I'm currently in a junkyard somewhere in northern Portugal, and I've just found this absolute relic buried in the back, or buried amongst all these old tools. It's a vintage ESO cast iron paper punch. It's seized solid, covered in decades of rust, and the wood base is split and rotting, or got woodworm. But under all this grime, there's a beautiful functioning tool waiting to get out. Let's see if we can bring it back to life. By the way, ESO means Eclipse-Soho. And my name's Stuart, and many thanks for joining. Yeah, it's so gummed up, I've got to remove the muck out of the top of the screws so that I can get them out. We can see it used to be punching paper, that's for sure. God knows how many years ago, I don't know. I was a little bit intrigued by the fact that it had a plywood base, which made me think it wasn't original, but it is original. It's not the sort of thing you'd see used today in anything like this. What I'm doing here is I've got to remove this pin, which has been pinned over, so I'm using a diamond quill just to remove the part that's been doubled over. And then what I have to do with the pin is to put a blob of weld on it to make it longer so I can pin it over when I put it back. There's only a rust everywhere. There is some evidence that it was painted blue. Voila, now we've got the thing out, the plungers. Not quite so corroded as the rest of the parts. Well, that came off all right. This is a problem one because it won't come out, it's seized solid. So I tried to move it by hand, but it was not going to budge. So in the end you'll see that I've used a blowtorch on it, which is a good method for removing seized parts. No, it's absolutely solid. Please feel free to like and subscribe, and any comments are always most welcome. Thank you. Now we've got it, now it's de-seized, so to speak. Just to knock these pins out. You can see my high grade safety shoes. Now pretty much you'll see that we've got all of the parts, well, everything's disassembled and laid out. Like you can see all the parts. You can see how rusty it is and in poor condition. We basically need to start bit by bit to restore it. I'm just going to start with the wooden base. It actually had woodworm in it as well as being not in good condition. The reason I figured it was the original was because nobody would go to the trouble of making a lovely slot in a repair. So I'm using exactly the same plywood, same thickness, and the same number of plies. This is a handy tool to have. It's not that you use it every day, but when you need it, this comes in useful. Now I've set the piece of wood up onto a milling machine. I'm going to mill the slot. This is the slot that allows the punched pieces to basically be released from the machine. So that slot, first slot, goes all the way through. This slot is for the guide where the paper sits against when it's punching the hole. So it has to be the right depth and be correspondent to the width of the guide. There we are. You can see I'm just trying the guide in there now. Not much to say here, but just a little bit of a clean up on the edges. Give it a little bit of a radius rather than a chamfer. And then it's almost going to be ready to be varnished. Well, there's the base finished. Now we need some other parts. Yeah, for the cleaning of these items, I've selected this commercially available product, and it's for removing rust, oxides. Now we've just got to leave those parts in there and see what happens. Now I've got to turn my attention to this base and the handle. It's not really the best way to do it really is with a shot blasting system. So you can see that's what I'm doing now. This is an 80 mesh abrasive, and I've speeded it up because there's, otherwise it's like watching paint dry. But it works quite well at removing the rust and the oxides. You just have to be careful if you've got mechanisms. You don't want to leave any grit in there to make sure it's clean afterwards. Now they're done. So now I'm going to, I hate painting, or by hand anyway. But I haven't really got much choice. This is what they're called hammerite paint. So it dries with a texture, a dimply kind of texture. And although I've changed the colour from blue to a kind of a black, and I'm using the same paint that it had been painted with. It was a type of hammerite paint. So now we can remove these parts. They've been in there, I don't know, quite a number of hours. To be honest with you, I'm not entirely convinced it's a good product. I must try one which they recommend a lot, Evaporust. I'm going to try that one next. So basically I've got to go back to the shop blaster with these items. You know, the shop blaster is very good, it gives a uniform finish. And then you can, afterwards you can work on it. I've got some of the parts now which I need to put into the lathe, like the screws. I mean, obviously I need to conserve these 3 screws. The heads are very corroded, so I need to clean the heads up, and then I'll be nickel plating them. These are just simple clean-up operations. I've got a spongy abrasive here, which is good. It moulds itself into the shape of whatever you're going to clean up. I mean, this is very badly corroded, so I'm using a file. It's not strictly something that you would do on a lathe, but most people do. I just want to get a reasonably good finish so that I can electroplate it. These are the plungers. One of them seems to be bent. That one's a bit bent, but not too bad. Let's see what the other one's like. Oh, we can even see it in the photo, in the video. Sorry. So this needs the attention of a hammer. Now we're there. I don't know why that would have been bent. I don't think I bent it trying to remove the bar earlier on. No, I didn't put enough pressure on it. Strange. This is like a Scotch-Brite, because these parts weren't very corroded. So now I'm taking them all and putting them into an electroplating. This is a homemade electroplated bath. It's made with a solution of vinegar, some salt, and obviously you need very pure nickel, and an anode and a cathode, and some voltage flowing, DC voltage flowing between. So we'll leave that electroplating and get back to this. I did initially shot blast it. It's got some quite deep corrosion. I don't think I'll be able to remove all of it. But what I'm doing is I'm using a diamond quill. I'm probably cheating a little bit, but when I've done that, I'll go with some abrasive, as you can see I'm doing now. I'm trying to get the bulk of the rust off it. And then this part then goes back into that electroplating bath. You can see all the bubbles there. So now we go back to these parts. This is the base painted and the handle. I'm quite pleased with them, even though I'm not a good hand painter and I don't even like it. There's the base, turned out nice. That's the guide we've been talking about. Springs. So these have all been nickel plated. These screws, again nickel plated. Now the plungers, they're looking in a far more reasonable condition than before. That's basically all the parts. This is what's called a cubic bore and nitride grinding wheel. It's like diamond, but it's not really diamond, and it's far better for sharpening steel. Diamond's not a big friend of steel. So now we're just going to mount it all back together bit by bit. I'm just marking out the base so that I can drill it, and then otherwise it'd be a nightmare trying to put those screws in. That's looking respectable. I like the finish of the screws as well. Right, the next part is to put the handle together with the, so this is the part that sends the plungers down and punches the paper. But I just need to pin over the rod which goes through there, or the spindle. This is where you've got to be careful not to hit your thumb, or to not to hit a part that's been painted. The trick there is not to use a hammer too big. So now we've got those, we can assemble the plungers. I've already put the springs in the holes. This is a little bit of Loctite, or bearing glue really. So these, I just need to compress it and push these pins in. Now, just fit in the guide that we saw before. And it's finished. Oh, I think it looks great. It's rather nice. I think the colour's better than the blue, but yeah, we can see how corroded it was and in poor condition. You can see it's working and it's punching holes. Well, I'm happy with that. And many thanks. I hope you enjoyed the video, and many thanks for watching.